So that's interesting. So you mentioned the traction book, which is something that we're actually going through now with the EOS system, the Entrepreneur Operating System, and it.
Yep.
From me going through it, it does help create this really, really great 10-year plan, then break it into 3, then 1, then like your quarterly rocks and everything to help guide and grow the business. What do you feel like turned you onto that book? Was it the disorganization that you were like, shoot, we got to get this done? Or was it just, this is how I want to get to the next level?
Both. I think organization and accountability was the big thing. So I found myself like trying to do everything and realizing like there's only so much time a day and there's only so much capacity for me to do it. And then there's certain projects that are like in my superpower and I can do really well and I enjoy doing. And then there's other projects that I'm like, gosh, this is like makes me cringe having to do this. Like I don't like doing this, but someone's got to do it. So, and as the owner, like I'm gonna do it. And so finally, like when we did that, I said like, all right, we've got to hand this off to other people to be able to do it, like if that's their superpower. And somebody recommended the book to me. And it was weird because it might have been like the first book that was recommended to me that I didn't instantly go and buy. I waited like a year and a half. And then like some of these like reoccurring problems kept coming up in the business where, you know, just some of the accountability and structure and stuff like that. And this book would keep like popping back up in the conversation. And so finally, like a year and a half later, I buy the book and I read it. I'm like, oh my God, this is like been the missing key. Like this is the stuff that we need. And it helped kind of put together a lot of other ideas and things that I had read elsewhere, but this like kind of wrapped it all into one nice package. And so finally, once I read it, I was like, all right, we've got to dive in. So I hired a consultant to come in, help implement it, and get everything rolling with it. And now, you know, we look at our rocks and like what we've accomplished in the last quarter since doing it. And it's awesome because we're knocking all these things off the list. And it's not just like me knocking them off the list. Like I'm responsible for like 3 of them. And then everyone else on our team is knocking their own things off.
That's really interesting because that's exactly, we're kind of creating our 2020 plan right now. Filled out the full guide, the mission and all this good stuff. And I'm really excited to share with the team too. Do you feel like it really helped clarify? And first of all, the consultant that you brought in, were they like an EOS specific type person okay, so they dove in and then, but you really felt it helped make a pretty significant change really quickly?
Yeah, it did right away, and it's continuing to. So let me backtrack. I think the tipping point when I finally dove in and said, all right, we got to get a consultant and like get this locked down was there was something missing in our culture was changing a little bit, and we were missing something over the last 3 years. And what it led to was in the previous 12 months is we had a lot of turnover, and there was some turnover of some long-term employees and things like that, and I couldn't quite pinpoint it. And one of our long-term people here came to me and said, and she showed me a vivid vision that we had, and that was from a different book, and it was basically a 3-year vision of like how you want your company to look 3 years from now. Cameron Harold does that in the book Double Double. And she said, we have no vision and no direction of where we're going. She said, right now, all we know is that we're growing and we're growing fast, but no one knows where the finish line is or what direction we're heading. That really like kind of stopped me right in my tracks and think.
That was somebody who was leaving?
Yes, that was someone who was leaving. And that kind of like just like hit me hard and, you know, made me think about it. I was like, you know what? She's 100% right. We've been so busy being busy growing that we lost some of the focus and we lost some of the the game plan. There was no long-term plan in place of, hey, here's where we're going and here's how we're going to get there. So we kind of lost our vision along the way because there was so many different moving parts happening through acquisitions, through new building, through, a number of other things going on that we didn't really have a clear focus or a clear vision for everyone to follow. So that was really like, oh my gosh, as a leader, I've got to sit down, and I know it may be in my head of what we want to do and where we want to go, but I didn't do a very good job of projecting that to the rest of the team. And so by getting it down out of my head, formalized onto paper in our VTO, with our core values, with everything else, with, hey, here's our goals over the next 3 years, 5 years, like here's what we're going to look like, and here's what we're going for, and here's the Super Bowl, how do we get there, and really breaking that down, that helped clarify a lot of things for the rest of the team of, oh, okay, now this makes sense. Before it was in my head. So as a leader, I need to get that out of my head and be able to convey that to the team.
Is there a point that would have been too soon to do for the company? Or like, if you were to go back, when would you have wanted to create this for Envision?
I don't think it's too early at all, because you're constantly evolving. And even though you're planning out, I always say, like, all right, whatever our plan is 3 years or 5 years from now, if I would have done that since day one, like, that plan constantly be thrown out the window, because every year we've grown and evolved so much.
Sure.
That I would constantly have to update it. So I think part of my false belief or mindset with not communicating that effectively to the team was not wanting them to, getting them to buy in and believe in a direction that we were going, that if we were going to change that direction or that path within a year. Does that make sense? So,
yeah, right. Because you put all this work in, and then it's like,
because
you never know where we're going to be.
And we're constantly, we may pivot here and there. At the end of the day, we're printing T-shirts, but some of the things and systems and process and stuff we're doing to get the job done are changing. What we're doing now and what I think we're going to be doing a year from now or 3 years from now can dramatically change depending on the economy, on our customers, how they evolve. I think I thought it was easier to go and explain it as you're going rather than set that target down the road and then have them along weaving the whole way on the path. What I didn't realize is by not communicating that target, everyone's just rowing in different directions and going in all different ways, and no one was all focused going in the same direction, which would get us to the target a lot faster.
Got it. Interesting. And you can still, of course, always adjust, because I believe you're supposed to review the quarterly rocks anyway before you actually begin it. Got it. So that's a great book. If you guys haven't gotten it, it's called Traction. It's on Amazon and wherever else you listen to it. I went through the audiobook first, but I kept falling asleep. So I ended up just buying it, and then finally was able to get through it just doing the exercises. I think listening was helpful, but it was like actually filling things out. Very similar to Profit First, but kind of creating a really good process for the business.
Yeah, the other part of that book that I think the biggest thing that came to light, and there's a sequel to the book called Rocket Fuel. And that is the relationship between the visionary and the integrator. And I'd never put that together, and I'd never realized like why some companies are able to just really skyrocket super fast, and it's because they have this visionary and integrator role like figured out. I am huge visionary, if you couldn't tell. I've got all the ideas, I've got the knowing how to get things done. I'm just not really good at the integrating part. So I need someone, and I need other people on my team that I can say, hey, here's what we need to do, and then boom, they're making it happen. They're integrating it, they're like following it through with the action. I can do that, and I did that like a lot of the way growing to this point, but that's not my strong suit. My stronger suit is coming up with the vision, coming up with the plan, and then allowing the others that are really good at implementing to put it into place.